Hi, my name is David Montague and welcome to North East Management Academy Limited, more commonly known as NEMA. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this short video. I just wanted to personally welcome you to NEMA and also to speak to you very briefly around why you are going to benefit as the learner in dealing with us as your provider. And I know you've probably heard this many times from different providers, and let's face it, it's a go-to clause for any new provider talking to a new learner, how wonderful they are, etc. So instead, what I want to do today is to evidence to you how we are very different and why that's important to you. All too often when you're looking at apprenticeships, it can come across that you are dictated to as to what you're going to learn, when you're going to learn it, and how you're going to learn. And we fundamentally disagree with that. We at NEMA think that you, the learner, the employee, should be able to have control over as to what you're learning, how you're learning, and when you're learning. There are some fundamental basics which we need to get through. And so for that reason, normally the first 2 or 3 units within the program is stationary. It sits there and that's where it's got to be delivered. The reason for that is because it lays the foundation for the whole of the program. And also towards the end of the program, as you're probably aware by now, that you, with apprenticeships, come towards the end of your study program, you are then entered into what's commonly known as EPA, Endpoint Assessment. And so because of that, the last 3 units are normally set aside to prepare you for that. That's where we take off our teaching caps and we put on our coaching caps, and we coach and we mentor you so that you're able to fully participate within that assessment, especially with regards to any professional discussion, so that you can give your best at that process. Otherwise, in between those beginning and end stages of the program, you and your employer will be in control as to which unit you're going to be using and learning first. Okay, so depending on what's happening in your business, you can swap and change things around as and when needed. So yeah, exactly just that. You don't have to go, okay, at the beginning I'm going to learn unit 5 first, then unit 8, and then unit 12, and then that's it. Quite the contrary. If things change later on down the line and things become more of a priority, we can swap and change it back around again. Okay, so we're fully flexible. Your employer will be having access to your own learning progress. So your employer, and if they have an apprenticeship lead, will have access to seeing how you're progressing on the program. They'll be able to see exactly what your learning partners, and yes, I did say learning partner, and I'll come back to that in a bit, is saying in terms of feedback. And all the feedback is developmental, so we will always try to push you on to the next stage. So we are different in that sense. We put you back in control as to what you're going to learn. But what about how you're going to learn? Well, at the very beginning, you'll be asked to complete a learning questionnaire, which is designed to identify whether you're a visual, an oral or reader, or a kinesthetic. So a visual learner is somebody who learns through watching something. A reader-writer is somebody who learns best through reading something or writing something down. An oral learner is somebody who learns best through having that conversation with another person. And a kinesthetic learner is somebody who can learn best through doing something. The problem is with these questionnaires is that it's only capturing a given period of time, and this can sometimes change. And that's where we're different again. So this is where we put you back in control. So you'll have access to reading materials, to visual materials, as in video content. You'll have the ability to listen to video recordings like this. You'll be able to participate on a face-to-face or through webinar, which is still face-to-face really. All of these different methods are used to be able to enhance your learning. Not to mention, of course, all the other lovely reading materials we provide. So how you're going to learn is going to be quite important. And again, that's going to be a learning journey for yourself as well. But we'll support you throughout that whole process. Now, talking of which, when you go through the apprenticeship program, you will be required to, we need to look at things like English and maths. Now, if you already have a qualification in those areas, and we can prove that, then we won't need to put you through the functional skills for English and maths. However, English and maths is always still embedded in every lesson, okay? If you do need to go through functional skills, again, you will be given full support through and teaching throughout that process to enable you to be able to get through that those qualifications separately, okay? There's a lot of misgivings around people with learning needs and whether or not that might hinder you being able to undertake an apprenticeship. And I can stand here and say to you with hand on heart today, that is not the case, okay? If you do have a learning need, it is important that you speak to your learning partner. They will support you throughout. We will put additional resources in place to meet your individual needs so that you can progress throughout the program, okay? It is highly unlikely that any learning need is going to stop you from participating on one of these programs. I mentioned earlier about the learning partners. Let me talk to you a little bit about them. So, as you're probably aware, with a lot of other providers, they refer to their teachers or their tutors or their assessors. We use the terminology of learning partner, and the reason for that is very simple. It's because they're not there just to teach you, they're not there just to assess you. They are there to help and support you throughout the entirety of the program in any aspect. Whether you're struggling in your personal life, which might be impacting on the program, whether you're struggling within your work life, which might be having an impact on the program. Whether you're struggling with communicating with your line manager, we can help with all these things because we are there to help support you as an individual learner throughout the entirety of the program. With apprenticeships, you'll understand that with regards to the EPAO, as I spoke about earlier, the endpoint assessment organisations need to be selected at the start. Now, we won't dictate to you as to which one because we shouldn't be doing that anyway because you should be in control. This is really a decision for your employer, but it should be a triangulated approach between you, your employer, and us giving you the value of our experience. So what we tend to do at the beginning of the program is we will give you a list of the EPAOs that are available for the program at which you're studying. And from that list, we will also give you our own opinions, professional opinions, as to who might be better suited to provide that service. But ultimately, it's your employer's decision as to which one is chosen. So we do this at the beginning so that the EPAO can be contacted and can be made aware of you, so that they can also work with us, the provider, and your employer and yourselves to make sure that the EPA process is done timely and is done correctly. A lot of providers out there historically have had issues around the EPA process in terms of your learning process or your learning period, and then there's a bit of a gap. The way we work is it stops that from happening. So you finish your program, you go straight into EPAO, you have your professional discussion, and you have your consultative project or any other criteria for that particular course, and then you get completed on the actual program very quickly. So we're very different in that sense. Your learning partners are going to be a critical pathway for you, and we believe in transparency. And we also believe in open communication at NEMA. So with that in mind, you'll find that your learning partners will be there to help and support you throughout the program, as I said earlier. They will provide you with that all-important feedback, which is developmental based, okay? That's crucially important. With apprenticeships, you have the option at the end of the program to either fail, to pass, or pass with distinction. The way in which we teach you is designed to ensure that you get at least that pass. The way we do this is through making sure that you are taught at the distinction level. We teach you at the distinction level so that way we can almost guarantee the pass. If we taught you at just the pass standard, at the pass criteria, there's still that risk of a 50-50 chance of you passing or failing. Not much use to you, not much use to your employer. So what we do is we teach you at the distinction level, therefore we can almost guarantee that you're going to get at least a pass as a minimum, which is ideal. If we can get you to distinction level, that's even better, isn't it? There are many different programs which we offer. So we predominantly deal with recruitment, HR and management, but there are others. So for example, recruitment, we do recruitment resourcer, recruitment, which is a level 2, recruitment consultant level 3. HR is level 3 and level 5, but there's also a level 3 learning and development and level 5 learning development, and also an employability specialists program. In terms of management, that covers everything from level 3 up to level 7. When it comes to other programs, we can also provide apprenticeships around teaching. We can provide programs around customer service, business admin, etc. Okay, so there are a number of different programs in which you could look at. And don't forget, when you've finished your chosen program, it doesn't need to end there, and it shouldn't end there. There's always room for further development. And the great point here is that when you're looking at your own programs, they will move from, say, a level 3 up to a level 5. Or we won't need to teach you necessarily every element of level 5 because you've done your level 3. So this makes it more cost effective then for your employer, because we can adjust the financial banding for that program and reduce it to what we're actually providing. So there's a number of good reasons as to why you should develop yourselves and continue to develop yourselves. Okay, so there's been a quick introduction to North East Management Academy. If you wish to know more information, please do feel free to contact us by email, by telephone, etc. We're always open to communicate and to chat with people with no obligations. But if you need anything, do give us a call. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for looking at our website, and hopefully we'll speak.